Hello, sunshines. This is Shanna, also known as CreativeStitchNDiva, and you are listening to Chronicles of a Crochet Diva podcast. Enjoy.
Hello, sunshines. How art thou? How art thou? How art thou? So I am doing this now on YouTube and on other avenues because I just decided to take it to other avenues just so that other people can enjoy. So, how art thou? How art thou? How art thou? I am going to say this disclaimer today. Last week in the comments, someone had a little problem. The thing about it is, it wasn't even about them. So, if you have anything to say regarding anything that I say, come to me. Be a woman about it. Come to me. But no one did. No one even entertained it. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you very much. But no one really entertained it. It really wasn't nothing serious. I just feel like if you have your feelings hurt a little bit, then come to me and let me know. The thing about it is, her feelings was hurt, but it wasn't for her. It wasn't her. I wasn't even talking about her. But that's enough of that. Today, we're going to talk about crocheting while on welfare. Crocheting while on welfare is something that I did. It's something that I know many others did or may still be on welfare. And this is what we have to do sometimes. But I want to go into a little bit of history because that word welfare sometimes is like we don't want to talk about it. When I was growing up, being on welfare was something you kept on the hush hush. You don't need to tell anybody that. That's something that you need to keep to yourself. Even at the time when they had those the food stamps. Oh my gosh, the food stamps. You don't want to go to the store with that. You don't want to go to the store with them things. I used to try to hide it. It's something that, when I was younger, I just didn't want to be bothered with. I didn't want to have any dealings with it at all. The older I got, I think a lot of people started looking at it as, I could use some food stamps. I could definitely use some food stamps. And by that time, it was no more of the dollar food stamps. It was the card, the Family First card here in New Jersey. So many people started talking about, I want food stamps, even if they didn't need it. Hey, we all want food stamps. And that's what a lot of people were talking about at that time. And I'll say when I was in high school. When I was in high school, they wanted to have food stamps. It helped, right? So why not? Then you saw a lot of people talk about welfare, the little chump change that they give you. And so this started to become a little trend. And then that's what made it easier. Now, this is a stereotype. It made it easier for people to have babies. Stereotype. So the research that I did was, who was on welfare? Why were they on welfare? And how long were they on welfare? I can talk about myself, and that's what I'm going to do. But like I said, I wanted to go into history. Why? Why were people on welfare? Well, way back when, people were on welfare because it was a lot of hard times. And there was a lot of single parents out there who needed extra help. They needed the extra help to get on their feet, to feed their kids, because working wasn't just doing it, or if they were in between jobs. So to have the government help them was, it was called the Roosevelt did it, Social Security Act. And it was a lifeline for a lot of people back in the day. Then you went into the Reagan era, and Reagan decided that it's a poverty trap and that many people were dependent on it, and no one wanted to work. They just wanted to collect welfare. Some people would agree, some people may not agree. I look at it as, yes, it was a welfare trap, but I don't think anyone got rich on it. Think about it. They didn't give you enough money to go buy a Cadillac. They gave you enough money to feed your kids. They gave you enough money to take care of the household. Not enough money to take care of the household. So no, I do not believe everything about it, but I do believe some people did use it as dependent. They're dependent on it. Welfare is supposed to be used temporary. So when Clinton came in, Clinton decided he wanted to use something called the welfare reform. And that was so that you can get welfare, but it's only temporary. And temporary meaning you get on welfare because you're having hard times. So there was a lot of stipulations. You get on welfare, you start working, and then you get off, and you don't have to worry about that no more. Now, where are we at right now? When I had to go on welfare. I had to go on welfare 2 times in my life. Both times I had to get help because of an unfortunate situation. Now, the first time I ever in my whole entire life had to get on welfare was when I had my son and I wasn't working anymore. I used the welfare. They were able to give me money for transportation. They gave me money for my son to have a babysitter, food stamps, and whatever I needed. But it wasn't enough to have a living. It wasn't enough for me to stay on it or wanted to be dependent on it. So when people say there's welfare queens and that people are on it and they're stuck on it, I don't really know. And the system is set up right now where you can't really stay on it. You can't stay on it. The thing about it is we're only supposed to use it temporary. Now, I thank God I had a family who were not dependent on the system. So in my head and in my mind, I'm always thinking, no matter what the change was, I can't stay on this. I don't want to stay on this. I don't want anyone to even know I'm on this. So it made me grind so that I do not become dependent on it. It was a time where I needed it the most. I just had this baby. I am starting off going to school, and it was something that I needed to do so that I could get to the next part of my life. And having that little outlet helped. It helped a whole lot. So when I started working and making pretty good money, I was able to get off. Now, the thing about it is there were certain programs where you're able to have the welfare for like another year or two and they help you out. I opted out of that because in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to be dependent on this. I do not want this. I do not want that. So I didn't think of it as using the rest of that money so that I can get my own place. I wasn't thinking about that. In my mind, I'm like, I want out. I do not want to be on welfare at all. So I never thought about it. And it's something that, of course, I'm not going to think about. But when you are using this system and you are trying to use it so that you are able to move forward in life, there's no way possible you could use it and become rich. And that goes to something that I found out about the crochet queen. Not crochet queen, I'm sorry, I'm crochet queen. The what is it? The welfare queen. There was someone called the welfare queen, and her name was Linda Taylor. That was actually an alias. Linda Taylor is a lady who Reagan decided to talk about. Reagan decided to talk about her during his campaign so that this lady, I guess, baby, it was helping him to let people know how the welfare system can make people rich. Well, he didn't explain the whole entire story. So after I researched this and I realized there's a book which I am getting, there's a book called The Queen, and it's about this lady, Linda Taylor. And Josh Levin, he wrote this book because he noticed that it's a stereotype now. Who is the welfare queen? Who is getting welfare? Who is using and abusing welfare? And 9 times out of 10, they're saying it's Black people. Black people are stereotyped when it comes to welfare. And when it comes to getting on food stamps and stuff like that. Well, Linda Taylor wasn't necessarily Black. Did Reagan say that? No. Linda Taylor was not getting $150,000 in welfare. No, she did not. Linda Taylor only had like $9,000. Now, I'm not saying she wasn't wrong. She was definitely wrong. But Linda Taylor had got this welfare fraud kind of queen thing on her, and that's what her name, if you ever look it up, that's what the name they gave her, welfare queen, when in reality she was a kidnapper and accused for murdering people. So they glorified the welfare part, which was the welfare fraud, and they said that she had like 15 aliases and she disguised herself, when in reality she did not. So Linda Taylor was she was biracial. She was Black and white, and she did the aliases because at that time in the South they did not like Black people, and you couldn't get further in life being a Black person. So Linda Taylor decided, in order to make it, she had to do what she had to do, and that was to disguise herself and make up the aliases. Now, it just so happens that if she was on a particular alias, I think the most name she used was the Linda Taylor. So that's what she used, and that's what Reagan used so that he can get into his campaign. Because when I looked it up and I actually heard him say it, it was during an actual campaign speech. And the campaign speech was talking about Linda Taylor and how welfare fraud was huge at the time. And not only was it huge, a lot of people were using it to get a leverage. And that exactly was not true. She had a Cadillac. Yes, welfare didn't give it to her. She did have kids. She did take care of the kids. But what she should have been guilty of was the kidnap. She kidnapped a baby and murder. Now, back to me. I didn't know anything about this Linda Taylor until I started doing research on this. When I first decided to do this podcast on welfare, I decided to look up some information, some background on welfare. And why was I so like not into even being bothered with being on welfare? I didn't want to be on welfare. I didn't even want anyone to know that I was on welfare. I wanted to know why. Why did I do that? So I just looked up this information that I just told you. And when I was on welfare, the first time I was not crocheting. I just used it. I think I used it for maybe a year because I finished school and I went to work. I went straight to work. Now, I was always that chick that worked since I was 14 years old. Worked. I did not know any other thing to do but to work. It was embedded in our brains in my household that, you got to do things for yourself. You got to be a little, independent. You have to do X, Y, and Z in order for you to get on to your next level and your goal. So there was no ifs, ands, or buts. I could not just have a baby and sit on my behind. I couldn't do it. There was no way I was even thinking about it. So the next time I got on welfare, it was because I had breast cancer. So when I had breast cancer, I could not work. Now, don't get me wrong. I was trying to still work. I was trying. So on the off days that I had chemo, I would try to go to work. And I would do maybe like 2 days, maybe 3 days, and then come home. Then I would do it over and over and over again, like every other day, because I had chemo like every 3 weeks. Every other week I would go to work because I just had to go to work. I just felt like I had to go to work. But there was a point in time where I did need extra help. I'm wrong. I was not on welfare. I did receive a little food stamps at that time. I was not able to get welfare because I got disability. So that's another thing. I had disability because I was working, but I was not getting welfare. The part where I was on full welfare and I received help for housing was 2012. This is when I started crocheting. So in my mind, it's still a stigma. I can't do this. I can't be on welfare. I just can't do it. But at this time, something was wrong with me. Something was going on with the brain. I don't know if it was chemo fog. At the time, I had fibromyalgia, and it was other things going on, and I did not know what it was. So I could not understand what is going on with my body. I did not know. Why was I always in pain? I have no idea. But I was able to get Medicaid. I was able to get food stamps, housing, and they gave me $427. That's how much they gave me for myself and my 2 boys. At the time, my oldest was in middle school, and my youngest was like 3. So I was okay. I wasn't able to always provide for them because I'm on welfare, and $427 a month for 3 people is not a lot of money. I crocheted, and at the time I was learning how to Graphghan. At the time I started learning how to do graphs. So how in the hell was I able to make it? How was I able to buy yarn? I didn't. I couldn't afford it. I'm the type of mom that would bypass my holy sneakers and make sure my kids have. I could have my hair not done just to make sure that my kids have. So that was that mom that did that. I was that mom who made sure they eat and I was starved. So when I had to go through that phase of my life, I would crochet. When I crocheted, I was not doing it as a business. It was not even an option at that time to do it as a business. I was crocheting because it filled the time that I was thinking of sleeping. Because before crochet, all I did was sleep. All I did was eat snacks, watch TV, and that was the rotation all over again. That's it. That's all I did in my days. I did not do anything because, again, I don't know what's wrong with me. I have no idea why I feel the way I feel, why I'm like my brain felt like it was like cloudy. I had no idea. So I decided that I was going to do a little bit more crocheting. And I was still learning at this time. I was going back and forth to the library with my aunt. And I just said, I'm going to keep up doing this because it gave me an outlet. It gave me something that no one else was able to give me. And that was a spot in the brain that I needed to just clear my mind and stop focusing on negativity. Because that's what I did at the time. I would focus on a lot of negativity things, a lot of things that made sense to me that may not have made sense to you. And that's because I was depressed. I was going through so much. Who the hell wants to be on welfare and not know what the heck is wrong with them? So that's what was going on with me. I had no idea what was my next step. And that's something that I've never put myself in that position to where I did not know what I was going to do. I had no idea what my next steps were going to do. Here it is. I was working great jobs, making great money, manager, supervisor. Like that all went down the drain when I started feeling sick and not able to do my daily routines, even being home, because you get the people who say you need to go to work. Maybe you'll feel better. You need to at least, go part-time or find a job here, find a job there. So it's like damned if you do and damned if you don't, right? Say if I went to work, you can't get welfare no more if you're working. So even though I was getting 427, I'm also getting help with housing, right? So it's either take the 427 and get help with housing, or you work this part-time job and you don't get help with housing and you can't afford housing. And then if I decide to get the full-time job, there's going to be days I know I'm going to take off because it was days I couldn't even get out the bed. So what do you do? So now I feel trapped. I feel depressed. I feel discouraged. I feel, what else can go wrong in my life? What is going on? Crochet is where I went so that I could get out of that cloud that was going over me. And I couldn't explain it to anyone, so I had no idea how to say I'm going through this because I didn't know what it was. I didn't say I was depressed because, again, we all deal with depression in different ways. So to say that I was depressed, I would think in order for me to be depressed, I would be crying all the time or not eating or locking myself in a room or being in the dark all the time. And that was not me. I was sleeping a lot, but I wasn't crying all the time. I was still talking to people. I was still, going places. So I didn't consider myself being depressed. My doctor did, but this was years later. So when I was crocheting, how was I able to afford yarn? I didn't. I'm a very creative person. So I used whatever I could. And I received a lot of donations or yarn from people. My crochet mentors, they gave me yarn. My aunt, of course, my crochet mentor, she the one who taught me how to crochet. She gave me yarn. So I was able to get yarn from certain people. So if my birthday passed, I would say, I want yarn. So when people say, I can't afford yarn, that's something I said all the time. I can't afford yarn. I can't. I couldn't afford yarn. And then that's when I'm being told, at the time, I'm being told, stop saying you can't afford it. Stop saying that. And that's what Gail used to say to me all the time. Gail, my crochet sister, she used to say, stop saying that. I hate when you say that. Stop saying that you are broke, or stop saying that you can't afford this, and stop saying you can't afford that. I didn't understand that until recently, maybe a year or two ago. So I know the power of words, the power of feelings, the power of law of attraction. It helped me through this year because this year has been a hard year for most people. And even though I got corona, I was not in that space where it was a bad year for me. I can't say that. I can't say this year was a bad year for me. I'm alive. My kids are alive. We're doing extremely well. Yeah, there's things that I am saddened. There's things that I'm upset about. But overall, I had a pretty good year. And a lot of people keep saying this is the worst year ever, and this is a really bad year, and I can't wait until this year is over. What do you think is going to happen next year? Even if Corona is disappearing, and this is going to be here for a while. We just need to embrace it and do what we need to do to just make a different change, but make it in a positive way. Let's fix some things about what we're doing. Let's change some things and not keep dwelling on the bad things. So when it comes to my business and it comes to crochet, yes, days where I was saying, I can't afford yarn. I can't afford it. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to move on. So what I do, I was getting yarn from other people. People were just donating it to me. And what I did was I would crochet hat scarves for my kids if I couldn't afford it. I would do like small items and give it as gifts. And the more I did that, the more I was able to be exposed. And then that's when I started getting orders. And when I got the orders, I would take a portion of that to buy more yarn. So I can't say I used yarn to make money in the beginning, because I didn't. But what I did do was take the donations just so that I can keep my sanity. So in the beginning, no, I did not have a business, and I just did it to keep sane. I just did it to keep sane. We want to always say what we can't do, but instead, I focused on what I can do. I did that a little bit back then. Now, I focus on all positive things now. I focus on what I used to do and what I am doing now, because that's what makes my day. That's what makes me feel like, wow, Shauna, you really overcame this. Or wow, like, how the heck did my brain like change like that? And I try to figure out what like trauma can you possibly go through for your brain to just make you say and do certain things that you would never, ever, ever do. And when I crochet, I think about that. I think about what in the world is going on with my brain back then, because now I see things clearer. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I could never see that before. I could never even see me passing 42. And this was like maybe 3 years ago. I could never see myself passing 42. That was just me, because I could not understand why I was always in pain, why my brain was telling me to say or do certain things that I don't understand. And this is something that I had to speak to my therapist about. And I spoke about this before, but I had able to, which is they're like a home therapy. And what you can do is see if your insurance can cover it, because my insurance did. And they called every single week. And they call like twice a week, because the first day is your coach and the second day is your therapist. And they help you together try to build goals, how to help you with stress and how to help you with other things. That way you could move on and not need extra help with anything. So when I did that, I'm not going to say that was like a click, but that was something that I needed, because sometimes other people have to show you, or you have to hear it from someone that's outside of your family and friends. Sometimes you just have to hear certain things, and we don't always listen. We hear, but we don't always pay attention to what is being told. And that's what I had to figure out. I was also told that as I was in this session, it was an hour-long session. As I'm in this hour-long session, they didn't know it, but I was crocheting. So as I'm talking, I'm crocheting and I'm relaxed. And it was one day I was somewhere, I don't know where I was. I think I was laundromat. I remember now. I'm at the laundromat and I didn't want to cancel my session. So I decided to have my headphones on and talk to this therapist. So as I'm talking to the therapist, I was agitated. I was angry. I was fidgety. I was in pain. I was not myself. And she just kept saying, "What is wrong with you? What is the matter? This is not the Shanna that I speak to every week. What's going on? Calm down. Maybe we need to do," and she would put me in something called mindfulness. Maybe we need to do mindfulness. And I'm like, "No, I'm good. I don't need mindfulness. I don't want to do it. I'm fine." And the next week, I was fine again. I was good. And she was like, "I don't know what was wrong with you last week. Do you want to talk about it? Did something bad happen?" And I'm like, "No, no, nothing happened. I was just doing laundry." She was like, "You don't like laundry, right?" And I'm like, "No, I don't like laundry, but I don't know if that's going to make me snap or anything." So we basically pinpointed what the issue was. The issue was me crocheting to keep myself relaxed, to keep me focused, to keep the stress down. And it also helped me with pain. And I didn't realize that part until she told me. She said, "You don't realize it, but you are using mindfulness to stop some of your pain, to stop some of your depression, and to stop some of the irritating issues that you're going through. You're using it." And I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm not. I just crochet." And she said, "No, you are, because I noticed how you were when you're crocheting." And the thing is, like I said, she didn't know I was crocheting while I'm on the phone with her until I just said, "Well, right now I'm just sitting here crocheting. I don't know what you," like, I kind of got snappy with her. I got an attitude because I don't understand why she kept saying I am using mindfulness. And I don't know how to meditate. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do that. Stop asking me. And well, come to find out, I was meditating, but at certain levels. And I was using mindfulness. I just didn't know that I was using mindfulness. So I realized that now, when I'm a little upset, if I feel a little sad, or if I feel a little overwhelmed, I crochet and I pray while I crochet. And then that brings me back to reality. I did not realize the therapeutic ways crochet can like put you in a trance. I'm not going to say Graphghans can, but mindfulness crocheting is the bomb. It's like a drug without having to be on any drugs, because I realize I'm the chick who anything could go on around me and I will not hear it. I won't hear it. I just won't hear it. And mindfulness crochet takes it even deeper than that. I never knew. So I think that God put me in a position to learn how to crochet and to learn to put this in the position of um being able to use it to help me with the things that I was going through, because I was going through some deep things. I'm not the type of person that would use drugs or alcohol to fix whatever is going on. So when people are going through stuff, the best thing to do is to use drugs or alcohol, because that would get their mind off of it. Whereas me, I just couldn't do it. I just can't do it. But crochet, it helped. It definitely put me in the position where you could really, really, really make a good business crochet and be happy. So you don't have to go to that job, that 9 to 5 job, and be upset that you're in a place that you do not want to be in. So that's what made me focus more. That is what made me grind more because I'm doing something I love. And it also made me realize how much I went through. And to go back, because I have to write. I have to write a lot. So when I'm not crocheting, I write. And so when I was writing down for this therapist, sometimes she was getting on my nerves, but she was really, 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 really beneficial. I love her. She said, what you need to do is write down what's going on and what's making you upset and what's making you mad this week. And that's what I did. I wrote down what was making me upset and what was making me mad. And I emailed it to her. That was part of my homework because she gave me homework. That next session, she said to me, you deal with a lot. You deal with a whole lot. And she just kept saying that. You deal with a lot. You deal with a lot. And I was like, okay, all right. Thank you. You're really helping me. And she said, I'm serious. You deal with a lot. You were a baby when you had breast cancer. No, I'm not. I was no baby. I was 25. I was no baby. But when you think about it, my son is 21, 4 years, and he'll be 25. Yeah, okay. I was a baby when I had breast cancer. And what I did do was, and this is what she told me, and this is not what something I've never thought of. I took the trauma of breast cancer and pushed it to the side just to move on. And I moved on and I dealt with life, which was trying to make sure I took care of my son at the time. He was 5, 6 years old, and just trying to be that mom and trying to be that person that, people look up to. And that was another thing she said. She said, you keep trying to be the person that people look up to instead of trying to be that person that is you, Shanna. Just be Shanna. Just be Shanna. Stop trying to be that person people want to look up to. Be Shanna. She also explained to me that I have a control problem. This I know. I have a control problem. I have to have control of whatever is in my household, finances. I have to have control of, and at the time I was in a relationship, a 12 long miserable relationship. And at the time I didn't think it was miserable. I thought that I was holding off for this magical day that everything was going to be okay. And the magical day never came. And I realized that a lot of the irritating things that he would do, it subsided when I crocheted. He never even understood the whole concept of me crocheting, the whole concept of me trying to do this to feel better. He never understood the whole thing about me being a business. He never understood me, period. And instead of being my support system, he was the one who actually had me saying, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to crochet. Because you don't want to be with someone who is always have something negative to say about the something that you love. And instead of me putting crochet to the front burner, I was putting it to the back burner because I felt like I had to wait for this magical day. So let me do what I have to do to wait for this magical day. And it never happened. And it never came. And when he was gone, and when we decided to break up, that was like the worst and best day ever in my whole entire life. I did not realize that part of my life, it just went back to this is Shauna again. And I told my therapist, how can that happen? How can, like, one day I was sad. I mean, this is 12 years, my son's father. Of course I'm going to be sad. But then the same day, I'm sitting up here talking about what I'm doing next and what, like, I was excited. I was so happy. Then I'm going to fast forward to like a year later. I'm even more happy. I'm even more excited because nothing that I wanted to happen during that relationship time happened. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing happened at all. Anything I wanted to happen didn't happen. So during this segment of my life, I was on welfare. During the segment of being on welfare, everything happened wrong. Anything you could think of that can be such problem, a big problem, issues, being kicked off, being everything bad happened. And at the time, I'm like, what else can happen? So I was homeless. And I was homeless twice, but the second time being homeless, it was because of this whole welfare thing. And it was because of me being on welfare. And when a caseworker is not doing their job, or they don't really care, or if they feel like they're giving you this money out of their pocket, then anything goes. I was told that I was not able to get to be on welfare anymore because well, no, not welfare anymore. What they call is I think it's called a stipulation. Basically they temporarily stop your funds. And that happened to me not once, not twice, not 3 times, like a lot. So you would think that that would happen to someone who just don't care, who just doing whatever they want, who are not doing what they need to do. And that was not me. I did do what I was supposed to do. I did bring the paperwork. I did what I was supposed to do. But it was always because I got a different caseworker who didn't know who I was. I got someone who just had a bad day. I had a supervisor who had a bad day one time because I don't know if you guys know, but and they're still out there now. There was a company called IDT. And IDT would come knocking on people's doors. It's different names now. It's different companies now because I know they can make money off of doing this. But IDT came to my door. And I was always shushing them away. I don't want to be bothered at all whatsoever. But this particular day, I said, well, maybe they're part of PSE&G. PSE&G is my resource for gas and electric here in New Jersey, in Jersey City. So I said, okay. They keep saying we work for PSE&G. They did anything and everything they could to get you to sign on with them. So basically, they're saying that they're the supplier of PSE&G and that PSE&G was changing suppliers, and I had to get on board and sign up with it. They had the tablet in their hand, and they're like, you have to sign on. I'm thinking I had to sign on. So I'm thinking, okay, let me get my PSE&G bill and let me sign on. I signed on like a dummy. And when I did that, they gave you a refund check of $150. I didn't even get the $150 when they said I was, but I eventually got it like 6 months later. When that 6 months later came, my bill was like $3,000 and I lived in an apartment. $3,000 was my bill. So when I saw the amount, and then I saw how much my bill was. Then I see PSE&G, they're paying. I mean, well, they're charging me for the supply, but then I see this company charging double the amount PSE&G was, and I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, what is going on? So I'm calling PSE&G. PSE&G saying we have nothing to do with them at all. We never stopped our supply. We never sent any notices out saying that you had to change it. So now I had to figure out a way to stop this. And in the middle of me doing that, in order to keep up your housing with welfare, you have to have welfare. And in order to keep up your housing with welfare, TRA, it's called temporary rental assistance. In order for me to keep up with TRA, you had to have the necessary paperwork. Not only did you have to have the necessary paperwork, you had to make sure your rent was paid because you have to always show your receipts. And you also had to make sure that your PSE&G is paid for. I made sure I paid my PSE&G. The thing about it is, I can't afford to pay the whole entire $3,000 because I wasn't even getting $3,000. So my bill kept going up. Even though I have receipts showing I paid, my bill was still going up. Now I received, I went there for my regular monthly. You had to go every single month. So I went there for my regular monthly appointment to prove, here's my rent receipt, here's my bill, here's this, here's that. And the caseworker said, why haven't you been paying your bill? I paid my bill, but it's going to keep going up until I can figure out how to stop these people. He sends it to his supervisor. His supervisor comes out. Actually, she didn't come out yet, but he said, well, we're terminating you because you haven't been paying your PSE&G. I'm like, you clearly see the receipts, right? Why did you allow your bill to go up this high? And I'm like, I just explained to you. These people came to my door. He wouldn't let me talk. He was just being an asshole. Then I said something to him, and I was not mean. I'm not mean. I was not mean at all. I'm just trying to figure out, what are you talking about? You're about to stop my housing for something I did. And so he went to his supervisor. His supervisor came out. This is a tall black lady. And my caseworker is a black man. And they're standing there saying, well, you didn't pay your bill. And I'm like, but you didn't even look at all my receipts. Well, you're already terminated. We terminated you, and you are going to have to, what did she tell me to do? Go to fair hearing, and you're going to have to do this and do that. But she did tell me how I can still get my rent paid until I go to court. So I was able to get my rent paid until I go to court. Then I'm thinking, she just dismissed me like that? She just dismissed me like that. So I had to go home and crochet before I could even do anything else. Now, this is stressful. This brought on more pain. This brought on more flare-ups because at the time, at this point in time, I knew that I had RA now. So now I'm like going through all of the motions that an average person should not have to go through, and stressing, and my feet were always swollen, my hands were always swollen because I kept going through all of these flare-ups, and then it's like my brain was hurting. And I'm steady saying how I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to fix this. Meanwhile, I'm living in a household with a male. Why am I even going to TRA? There's something never clicked in my head. But I'm explaining all of this to my therapist. And she's saying, you really dealt with a lot. And you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have dealt with this. You shouldn't have to worry about none of that with the man in the household. And I was thinking, I know now. I know. But we don't think about that. Some of us. You don't think about that. I didn't think about it. It was stressful, and it was hurt, hurtful. It was humiliating. It was so much that one person had to deal with. It was a lot. It was a whole lot. And I thought about it. The best thing that came out of that whole situation was me crocheting. The best thing that ever happened out of that relationship was my son. That's the best thing that happened out of that situation and that relationship. And the two of those right now, this very minute, is what bring me joy. It's what bring me to a place where I'm really happy now, and I'm just great. I'm grateful that I can actually have a good night's sleep and not have to go to bed worrying, because it was at times I had the butterflies in my stomach. I got tired of that. I got tired of the butterflies in my stomach. I got tired of the crying. I got tired of the headaches. It was a lot. And I didn't realize that's part of being stressed out. That's part of the stress that a person goes through when they're dealing with a toxic relationship and being on welfare. Welfare stressed me out. Now, I'm not on welfare. I still get that. It's almost like you feel you're not going to be able to go to the next step because you didn't do this and you didn't do that, or you have to do this and you have to do that. And it's like, got to the point where it's like, enough is enough. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. So when the opportunity came along where I was able to do more with my graphing, do more with my crocheting, I was able to be a little bit more stable when it came down to this crocheting business. I was very, very humble and grateful that I was able to do that. It's a lot. It's a lot you have to go through being on welfare. It's a lot you have to go through being a mom. It's a lot you have to go through having a toxic relationship. So the fact that I had all of that, I was thankful to have crochet to at least put me through a little bit of comfort when I didn't know what else to do. The thing that a lot of you guys say to me is, I cannot afford yarn. I cannot afford. Sorry, the milk, the mic was frozen. So a lot of people say what they cannot do, but what you can do is focus on what you can do. So if you can't at the moment crochet, maybe you can focus on what you want to crochet, or try to design something that you want to crochet. If you can't afford yarn at that moment, don't say I can't afford yarn. Say I'm temporarily out of commission, temporarily. And when someone say, you know, they're going to give you a Christmas gift or a holiday gift or whatever, say yarn. If this is something you really want to do and business is something that you feel you just really want to do, and it's going to be something that you're going to invest in and you're going to put all your time and your energy in, I would do whatever I need to do to make it happen. And that's what has to happen, actually. You have to put some things on the back burner and put your business up to the front. And you have to do what you have to do to make it work. The time management is something, so I already started a video on it, but time management is so complex that I didn't want to just put out this quick video. I wanted to make sure that I am covering all avenues and the experience that I had to go through, because true discipline is what time management is. You need discipline in order to have true time management. It's for not just moms, it's for those who are full-time working people. If you are a wife, or if you have a tough job, organizations, it's definitely possible. It's just a matter of who you are and how you can do it. I am going to do that video. I'm going to finish that video, and I'm going to upload that video with all of the necessary apps that I had to use. So I had to go through a whole lot of trials in order to find out what works for me. And that's why I said I needed to focus on that video to make sure I'm doing the right thing, because what may work for me may not work for you. So I wanted to go into a couple of different avenues. I have this program that I'm doing now, and I'm helping mentor. I'm mentoring mentees, and I'm having sessions, free sessions. So if you want a free session on how to increase your business, how to make your platform better, I am doing that. It's free if you're doing it live, and it's $40 if you don't want to be on live. Why not be live? But if you don't want to be live, it's $40 if you want this session. So this session is I'm going to open up the doors for the mentees. I was supposed to do it the other day, but I got so locked into that shaggy jacket. I got locked into it. I couldn't do nothing until I finished it. So now I have the free time to do it. Those mentees are going to be in my group. It's going to be a secret group. Nobody else can go in there unless they do this session with me. And this is where I'm going to do a business. How I did it through welfare, through this toxic relationship, through being a mom, learning time management, learning how to be disciplined, learning how to try to do exercises, and just be more into Shanna and more into my business. It did not take overnight. It definitely did take some time. It was something that I had to have a lot of discipline to do, and support. A lot of discipline, a lot of support. So a lot of you ladies and gentlemen out there who learned how to crochet on YouTube. When you learn how to crochet on YouTube, you're missing some things that you might need. And those things that you need, that's what I'm here to do. And that's what I'm here to help you with. So let me know if you want a free session live with me, or if you want a session, $40, and I can help you with your business and help you get to that next step so that you can to make good money and do what you love to do. Now, all you have to do is hit me up. It could be on IG, because right now I'm on IG. You guys are about to cut off in a few. So if you want to head on over to YouTube, it's in my bio. But for you, if you want, you can hit me up. My information is in the description, and on IG, it's in my bio for YouTube. Or you can send me a DM. Send me a DM on IG. I can help you. I can get you to that next step. How? By using your story. Using your story is how you get to where you need to go in your business. A lot of people don't realize that. Me taking this certification to help people excel in their business is how I was able to help so many people, including Little John. Help her get from this amount to this amount on her Etsy page. It's her birthday today too. Happy birthday, Little John. So IG is off. I am going to yeah. You know what? I never did this. I never did this before. on IG. I never had a live on IG like this. Oh well. But anyway, yeah, so this is something that a lot of us need to work on, and that is your story. That's your not only your story, but just trying to figure out why we're not disciplined, why we have a problem with time management, why this and why that. And that's what I had to learn. I had to learn why. The whys. Why did I put myself in this position? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? I had to learn all of that. And I'm blessed that I was able to learn how and why. And taking that certification is what really made me think about the how and the why. To be disciplined, you have to know yourself. You really have to know who you are and realize that the old you, sorry, and realize that the old you is definitely can be the new you. Thank you. Thank you, G. Robertson. Thank you. See, I decided not to look at the comments, but because I don't have a moderator tonight, I have no other choice but to look at the comments because of last week. Thank you. I appreciate you. That was so nice of you. So I just want to be able to help those who went through what I went through. And if you went through anything that I went through, I understand. I understand your pain. I understand how you can get to a place of pain and hurt and stress, toxic relationship, and just all of that negativity and make it into something positive and something that you love. I truly am blessed when I wake up in the morning. I am truly blessed when I see my boys. I am truly blessed when I'm on here and I can help another person. If it's only one person here tonight that I can help, I'm truly blessed. I am thankful for that stuff that I had went through because he gives it to those people who can handle it. So I am so thankful that I was able to go through that, handle that, conquer it like a diva, and bring it to not only a place of happiness, but I'm bringing it to a place of stability, wealth, mentoring. I am bringing it to more than one platform. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to use that avenue to bless other people. And it's something that I've always wanted to do, and that is to help people. So because I'm not able to help people in the medical field anymore, because that's what I did. So because I'm not in that field anymore, I'm able to do it in crocheting, and to actually be able to say I can help someone in this field. Oh my gosh. It's like the best of both worlds. The best. And I think my last name proves it. Givens. I'm always giving. So that is the best thing in the world, to be able to help those who need the extra help. So I just urge, those to try to take the session so that you are able to be disciplined. So you would need like a accountability coach. That's almost like what I do. Not only accountability coach, someone who is in the same field as you, who knows a little bit about what it's needed to get to where you need to go. I don't know why it is or what it is. I don't know if it's me being intuitive or what, but a lot of the mentees that I did speak to and that I did help, I was able to say, you need this or you need that. And in the less than a week, some of them already was able to gain customers or gain more money or gain something different. And I believe that's because of your story. You take someone's story and you listen to them and you figure out, why isn't this person able to succeed? Or why isn't this person not able to use that beautiful gift that they were given to move forward? It's because of their story. So if I can help you with your story, I can help you with your business, and I can help you with discipline, and I can help you and put you on that platform so that you're able to be stable and wealthy and happier. And that's where I'm at. And that's where I'm ecstatic, because I'm not where I was before, and I can use crochet to bring me to that happy place. Not only that, I am able to help others become more financially stable. Never was I ever financially stable in that 12-year situation that I was in. Never. That whole entire 12-year, I would say maybe the first 2 years, I was okay. I was good. And I was living a dream. Then that started going downhill. But I was not financially stable at all. I didn't know how I was going to buy shoes for my kids, how I was going to buy, get their haircuts, and how I was going to do this and how I was going to do it. Was days and days and days where I didn't know how we was even going to pay the rent. I had no idea. Now, that's not even it's not even an afterthought. It's not even something I think about right now. Absolutely not. Now I think about what color I'm going to use for my next project. I think about what I can make sure that my son get when he graduates from college. I can make sure that, he gets the best that he can and do the best that he can. And that's a blessing. No, heck no, I'm not a millionaire. I want to, and that's my goal. And I am going to get there based off of the little steps that I'm taking now. But I am so not where I was, where I had no idea how I was going to get anything. I had no idea. I'm not saying that I have six figures. I don't have six figures at all. But I have figures. I have figures. And I have figures that I can use to go to the next level or the next step that I need to go to. How? You got to take my session to find out. But one thing I can say is, if you are on welfare, it's okay. You can definitely get up out of there and you can succeed, because it's not just me. Did you know that what is her name? J.T. Rowling, who made the author of Harry Potter, was on welfare? Did you even know that? Yeah. So if anybody can do it, you can do it. It's definitely something that I didn't realize when I was doing my research. I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. Yes. She's making great money now. Welfare. She was on welfare. And she was a teacher. And then she tried to get this book out and no one wanted to take it. And I think that's sometimes where we're at. Sometimes we have these offers and we have these things in our head. Nobody wants to bite. Nobody wants to take our crochet project. But it's always that one person that gets you on your move to keep going. So that's why I love what I do, because I'm at a point where I'm overwhelmed. But I'm happy being overwhelmed because it's doing something that I love to do. These last couple of days, I'm gonna say the last 2 weeks, I crocheted non-stop. The last 4 projects that I did, it was all back to back, maybe 2 days in between, maybe 3, but I wouldn't go no more than that. It couldn't have been no more than that. Those days that I was crocheting like crazy, I kept saying, I'm tired. Or I kept saying, I need this or I need that. But then I thought about it and I'm like, wow, I have all of these orders. And it was a point in time where I didn't have any. There was a point in time where I wasn't getting the necessary feedback that I had wanted with my orders. It was a point in time where I couldn't even get one person to even say, can you, can you make this? Or can I have this? Or I didn't get anyone to even say that. Because, some people would say, can you make this? And then you don't hear from them again when you tell them your price. It was a point in time where I didn't even get how much is. So now where I'm in a position where I get that, then I get the can I, then I get the may I, then I get the I'm going to give you the money next week, then I get the here's the money now. Like I get all of that now. So it was one point in time I had 25 orders. I have 20 orders now. I'm busting them out. I'm busting them out like it's hot. And then when I stop and I finish one order, before I even send it out, I'm getting another one. It's amazing. It's definitely amazing. It's hard, but it's discipline. Definitely discipline. From being on welfare, not really going nowhere, not really doing anything, to having a disciplined time management schedule. I have no other choice but to give myself a time where I'm doing this and a time where I'm doing that and a time where and don't get me wrong, there are some times that I am over or there's some times where I'm under, but there's time that I'm putting into, and that time that I'm putting into is money to be made. I also want to do a session on pricing. So in order to get from out of welfare, especially us who, if you were or still are on welfare, I'm not even going to just say welfare. I'm going to say like Social Security, SSI, that SSI is almost like welfare. So for those people who have low income money, even if you have a part-time job, even if you have a full-time job and making $9 an hour or $10 an hour, you are not making a lot of money and you want someone to purchase an item that you made or you are going to make. And because you want that customer, you're going to shorthand yourself. You shorthand yourself, but you spent all that time doing that order. I've been there. I put myself a lot of times in situations where I would finish the project, the order, give it to the person, and I'm getting like the balance of that deposit. So say for instance, I used to sell my baby blankets for $80. And when I sold my baby blankets for $80, I would say a deposit. So they give me 40. And then when I give it to them, they give me the 40 balance. Do you understand how horrible I felt? Because I needed it. I needed that 40 right then and there, and then I needed that other 40 later. There's no way I can do that to myself anymore. I cannot do that to myself. I cannot put myself in that situation because I deserve more. My hands deserve more. My brain that designed it deserve more. And just my well-being. So the non-crocheters don't know. They don't know. Some may have an idea. Some are not stupid, but they just don't know. They don't literally see us crocheting all day long. and putting that effort into designing. Even if you're reading a pattern, it takes time to read a damn pattern. It takes time to do these things. So what best to do is compensate yourself. Give yourself what you deserve. So I do want to do a session on that. And I want to be able to talk about it, not the price. So this is a whole podcast I need to talk about. Pricing your items. Why do we as crocheters always ask, what is your price? How much did you charge? We always want to know. We always want to know. We want to know, how much did you charge? Not even, that's cute. That's nice, girl. How much did you charge? And I see it. I see it a lot in a lot of the posts. And sometimes I want to, I do reply. Sometimes I'm like, is it worth it? Me telling you the price that I had charged? Or should I just say it's a gift? Should I just say it's a gift? I don't know. Is it really worth it? Is it worth me saying that I charged $400 for this blanket that I just did? Is it worth it? Because 9 times out of 10, you're either going to say, "Oh, girl, that's too much. I would never get any customers charging $400." Or you could say, "Oh, girl, that's a lot. Go ahead. Good. Go for you." Or you might not say absolutely anything because you had a mission. I don't know. I have no idea. But what I can say is, if I do a session on pricing, it's not going to be what you think. It's going to be more so of how we can stop cheating ourselves and figure out the price on your own. But how can we stop cheating ourselves? Do not take that $40 for that deposit because you need it. Instead, let's make it worth their while by saying, you really want this? I can really make this for you. And not only can I make it for you, I can add this to it and I can add that to it. And then they're going to say, how much? Because that's what everybody wants to know. How much am I going to charge you? And then my next thing would be, I'm going to say this amount of money. If I say 300, oh, that's too much. So that's a lot of money. We need to learn how to tell them our story. And our story is what's going to sell it to them. 300 may be a lot of money. 300 may be a whole lot of money to someone, but it's nothing to us who spent all that time and all that energy into putting into that work. So you can get that person to pay that $300. You can. And I can show you how. You could get that person to help you, but you have to be disciplined because you can't fall through. Once you start, you can't fall through. And at times, I wanted to say, okay, forget this. I don't want to do this no more. But because I'm at a place where I'm stable and I don't need your money, I want it because I want to keep building and be able to take care of the household. But I'm not going to cave in. And that's another thing. When you don't cave in, that's when your customers appreciate you more as well. Your customers not only appreciate you, they may just say, okay, can I pay an installment? And yes, that's definitely an option. Definitely an option. Have I got stuck with any projects? Yes. But let me tell you, when I was stuck with projects, it was nothing. It wasn't any time now. It was like years and years and years ago. The The projects that I think I got stuck with was more so my mistake. Like if I made a mistake and I had to do something over, it wasn't because someone didn't really pay for it. It was because they paid for it and left. So it wasn't that. So I think the method that I use works. I can't say I think I know it works for me, but I'm also strict, very strict. I would tell them no in a minute. I would say, I'm sorry, that's my price and my price stands. Let me know when you're ready. Let me know if you want it. And then I will not say absolutely anything else until they're ready. And that's something that they may not like in the beginning, but when they keep seeing your work and your work is good and not tacky, and if you're doing a Graphghan, it can't be those disappearing lines. If you like it, fine. But I'm just saying, try to be a little better. If you want better, be better. If you want people to pay this amount of money, you need to put that in your work. You need to make sure your work speaks for itself. I swear to you, I do not have to describe anything or sell the world to anyone. They come to me, and when they come to me, it's, I want this. I show samples, and I make it happen. That's how it's supposed to be. When you sit up here and negotiate, and you want this and you want that, I need to also have a session on how to talk to the customer, because I guess being on welfare and not having, and then to finally be able to say, I have, and I have a firm foundation, I can actually give myself way more respect than many are giving me. A lot of customers don't have that respect because they don't know. They have their own story. But when I explain my story and I explain, listen, this is my business. I was on welfare. I had this, I had that. And this is something that I truly, truly, truly use for a stress reliever. And I truly use it when I'm in pain. Like, this is something that, this is all I have. This is my bread and this is my butter. This is something that is going to make sure that my kids have. So I can't go down on my price. But what I can do is make sure that whatever you want, I can make your dreams come true. So basically, I am a dream slayer. I make sure your dreams come true. And I'm confident, very, very, very confident when it comes to making a sale with the customers. I make it happen. So, for instance, the famous socks that everybody have, right? I said to some of you, you may not remember, but I said that I am not doing those trendy things, those trendy items. But every now and then, people like, I don't want anybody else to do it. I want you to do it. Because I know you can. And I know you're going to rock it. And I know you're going to make it look good. Okay, fine. I'll do it. But let me tell you something. I'm not going to do it like how everybody else is doing it. I can't do it like everybody else is doing it. The thing about it is, I don't even want to post it. I don't even want to post it. I don't even want to show anyone what it looks like, because I feel I don't care about anybody taking the idea or copying. That I don't care about. I told people I don't want to do it. That's just not my thing. Graphghan is my thing, but I can make other things, just like that shaggy jacket. I could do it. It's just not my thing, but I can do it. And so I did it, and I killed it. It's not my thing, though. But the stockings, yeah. How the heck can you get someone to pay $100 for a pair? Because it's always going to be another crocheter out there who's selling it for like $40 or $50. How can you get someone to pay $100 for those same stockings that's all over the place? That all you have to do is put up who makes stockings or these thigh-highs or whatever. And they are definitely, you're going to have a whole bunch of people say that they do it. But how can you get that person to pay $100? You got to do what the diva do, and you got to learn how to talk to your customer, and you got to learn how to sell the dream. So I had people that literally say, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that, and I want it to look like this. Or some people might say, I want the colors. And then when you say, what are the colors? Oh, I want it to be like the New York Giants colors. Then I'm gonna be like, really? I'm a Giants fan. I got you. How would you like if I do X, Y, and Z? I'm not telling you what I'm doing, but how would you like if I do this? You for real? You would do that? I could do that. I could make it like that. I think this will look better than what you're trying to ask for, or that picture you just sent me. Oh my gosh. I want it. I don't care how much it costs. I want it. And then bam, that's how you get your customer. That's how I get my customers. I sell them. I sell them dreams. And I make the dreams happen. I make the dreams come true. And that's what we need to do. We need to make dreams come true. And some people say, I can't, or I don't know how. You need to have a little bit more confidence, because I'm going to tell you something. I had no idea how the hell I was making that shaggy jacket. I had no idea how the hell I'm making this Halloween costume for my niece. I had no idea how I was making anything. And I just do it, because where there's a will, there's a way. And there's always something out there that resembles it. Even if you do not have a pattern, you don't need a pattern. You use what God gave you, and that's the brain, the eyes, and the hands. And you look at the things, because you crocheted so many things, right? You crocheted a lot of them. And you kind of know how you make a hat. You kind of know how you make a scarf. You kind of know how you make this or you make that. So my crochet mentor, Nettie, I don't know if you're still on here, Miss Nettie, but Vanessa, when she told me a long time ago, draw it. A long time ago, she said, draw it. And I'm like, I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to draw. But I said I wanted to make a certain type of vest or a skirt or a shirt or something I wanted to make. And I made it. But I wanted to make it with argyle on it. And I wanted to do it for my son and my friend's son. And it was for Easter. I had it in my brain. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. And I'm like, how am I going to make this? I had no idea how. So I'm calling her and I'm asking her, how do I do this? She said, I'm going to draw something and I'm going to send it to you. And she did. So the difference with us crocheters and sewers, right? A sewer have the material. And whether they follow in a pattern or not, it's a certain way you do these things all the time. A certain way. You're going to do it consistently. How you make a basic shirt? Round with a round collar. How do you make a basic shirt with a V-neck? How do you make basic pants? How do you make basic this? You have to know what the basics are. As long as you know what the basics are, you could run with your design. And that's what I did. So when she sent me the picture, and I still remember that picture, I would never, ever forget that picture, because it clicked. Like, oh my gosh, she just helped me. The picture was a picture of a vest, and she showed how the vest was. So the front of the vest, she showed how one side was, then she showed how the other side was, then she showed how the back was. And you could do it in panels, or you could do it all together. Now, I was doing graphghanning before I even knew how to do a graphghanning. How was I making this argyle? I had to use good old-fashioned graph paper, and I used the graph paper, and I made the argyle. So what I did do was I made the argyle and not even in the whole entire size, because I had no idea what size or nothing. I didn't know none of that. I was able to put it together, and I have I have a picture of it. It's actually all over my social media. But I was able to do it for not just my son, but his friend. And they wore it for Easter. But I also made a newsboy hat too. Tell me why. We went to church and all these people was like, that is so cute. Where did you buy that from? I made it. Huh? And that was before I had a business. I didn't have no business cards or nothing. They were like, oh my gosh, that's how my grandmother used to crochet, or that's how I always wanted to crochet, or that is something I really like. Can you make me this? And that's how you start getting them to say, I want. But to get them to say, I'm going to pay that, you got to sell a dream. So that is something I can talk about in one of my mentee sessions. Again, if you want, I can help you. You just have to come on over to the not Graphghan side, but come on over to the Diva side. Ask me if you want to be on my live show, and it's crocheting. It's basically coaching with me, and I'm going to coach you and help you with your business. And basically, you're going to tell me a little bit about yourself before we get on live. And then you're going to answer some questions before we get on live. And then during the live, we're going to talk about this. And we're going to talk about, how you can change it to make it work for you. But after the live, all of the mentees are going to be in a secret group. And in the secret group, it's going to be accountability time. So that whatever you said that you was going to do, you do. Whatever homework I was able to give you, I want to see it done. And then a month from that day, we're going to come back on the live and we're going to talk about what worked, what didn't work, and if anything that I should change in my coaching, or you should change. And that's something that I believe it will work for me and for you. And that is all for today's podcast. I am going to do Mentor Monday tomorrow, 7 p.m. So please come back. If you are not subscribed, subscribe. You want to subscribe. You want to subscribe to me because I'm giving you all of that necessary juice that you need to fulfill your everyday dream, and that is to become a crochet businesswoman or man. And I am here to help you with whatever you need for the business that you need and you want, and I guarantee that you will start seeing some sales. You will start doing some more orders. And not only that, not just the business side, you need someone, a mentor. I had to. You need a mentor that can not only push you, but have your back and have your support and help you with your design and all of the above. And that's what I am here to do. So, session with Diva. And tomorrow, Mentor Monday. And what else? Oh, the podcast on Sundays. And that's just about it. I am going to do more guests. I'm going to have some more guests. I'm going to have guests for tomorrow on Mentor Monday. And I can't wait until I am able to do more things. And when our show is going to come out for Little John and I, we're going to have a little show, and I can't wait until we're able to have our show. And it's going to be on once a month. Once a month, she and I will be on and entertaining you and helping you with whatever crocheting need you have. We're going to collaborate together, and we're going to bring some great things to you that I guarantee you will definitely need and want in your life. So if you have not clicked that button. I hope you did. I hope you gave me a little like, because there's no love, but you can at least like. And if you are not subscribed, please subscribe and share the word. Share the word about this podcast, Mentor Monday, because it can help you, and not only you, but all of your crow sisters and crow brothers out there. I don't see, this is why I don't like looking at comments. But you guys have a good evening, and I will talk to you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, for a Mentor Monday. Have a good night. Bye.